So let's talk about appearances. My name is Dr. Stacy Betancourt, and I welcome you to this week's edition of Making Sense with Dr. Stacy. So here's where we're going. Last week I talked about flaws, and it was flaws in personality. This week I want to talk about our appearance. Before I get started, this post could be a trigger for those of you who struggle with body image. Now, if this is you and your imagery alters your life in a negative way, I request that you seek help. You may not want to hear or engage with this subject matter this week, and I get it. Reach out to me, though, for direction and resources, and I promise to respond. Now, getting down to it, think about the comment. Do these pants, shorts, dress, fill in the blank, make me look, fill in the blank with any negative judgment in regards to your appearance? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. So I've talked about those things before. This post is a little different. I was scrolling social media the other day and I came across a content creator who caught my attention. The individual has always been open about their former eating disorders and an inaccurate body image. Thankfully, they receive the help they need and they live a healthy lifestyle. In fact, they look fantastic. Yet, they have received cruel comments from those who hide behind a keyboard. And their focus of these individuals is the post. Comments that were far from necessary and they were intended to be mean-spirited. My question is why? Why do we feel the need to attack others? And some may question my post is doing the same thing. But here's the thing. Why do we feel we have the right to target someone in a cruel manner, which I am not doing? Where does a sense of entitlement come from? Let's dig deeper. Why do we do this to ourselves as well? If we look back through the archives of body image, and specifically public acceptance, which I'm not a fan of public acceptance for the most part, but in this case, think about models from the 1950s and early 60s, and compare them to the late 60s and beyond. Through the ages, the women were no less beautiful than they were before. And now we feel there is a need to consider who sets the standard. And my question is why? There is no denying that for some images seen of ourselves in mirrors or distorted imagery of ourselves in store windows, it does something to us. This affects our confidence, and even though we know we shouldn't allow this to tarnish how we look at each other and ourselves, we also need to understand that no one deserves to be treated poorly by others, specifically those who feel the need to comment on with such mean-spirited words on an account from someone who shares just a small piece of their life. There is so much more to be said on this topic, but given the limited time based on viewer retention, I end by saying, if you are one who finds yourself criticizing others with the intention of being hurtful, why? If this is something you do to others, let's talk about this. Let's open the conversation up. I want to get to the why and understand your mindset. Food for thought, like I say every week, we're all on a journey. And even if we want the same exact things in life, how we get there is going to be vastly different. So there is no right way and there is no wrong way. So show yourself grace and show grace to others. And that's it. I wish you all a great week. I thank you for watching this week's edition of Making Sense with Dr. Stacy. Take care, everyone.